What's up, my fellow DIY people? Today we're going to make a phone holder for when I do my videos. What I'm going to use today is I'm going to use lockline, and I'm also going to use an Irwin quick grip, and then I'm going to use this here 3/4 saddle clip here to hold. I'm going to use these here screws, and also this here is the saddle that's going to go on top of the quick grip. That way it'll hold the part that you screw in for the lock line. That way it'll basically keep it good and steady. We'll put 2 screws right there and there to hold it, that way it'll stay together. So then the top part right there screws right in and on top, and you pop the lock line right in on top of it. I'm going to use this right here cheap phone holder. That's what I'm going to end up using to hold the phone when I'm doing my videos and stuff. But because it needs to be on the lock line, I'm going to take the end piece here and I'm going to use epoxy inside of it to hold it, and that way it'll pop right onto the other parts of the lock line. And that's the 5 minutes epoxy that I got from the Dollar Tree I'm going to use. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and do the epoxy. So what I got here is I went and got some Gorilla Tape, and we'll strip off a little piece right here. And I'm going to line it up and put it on the top of the top of the lock line top. And I'm going to mash it down and try to make sure I get where it won't leak any or be leaking or anything, because of when you put that epoxy in there, it can go everywhere. So I'm pushing it on there pretty tight, making sure everything's sticking really good and everything else. Sitting here still mashing down on it pretty hard. Alright, get back out the phone charger, and I'm looking to see that I need to make just a little hole, that way when I put the epoxy on the other side it won't come out. So I'm going to use this here X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut just a little bitty X into it right now to make it to where I'll put the little phone holder into it. I'm going to pop it through, and then I'm going to look down the middle of it, and I'm going to see there's a little bitty gap, and I'm going to get another piece of tape. Tape's giving me a little bit of trouble. Alright, I'm sitting here, I was like, oh, I'm going to wrap it around the tape, and I was like, nope, that won't keep it from leaking. So what I was going to do is just put another piece on the top of it. Well, I need to make an X on the top of, or put a piece of an X on the tape here to make sure that it goes through. So I'm going to unscrew the little ball and joint thing. It pops right out, and then there's the top. Of course, I really didn't need to do that, because I end up doing it a different way. So I make the little X right here. I should have made it a little bit smaller. I made it too big, but live and learn. So I end up pulling it out of the lock line thing, and then just stick it through the peel part right there. Then I stick it back into the hole already made, and basically I mash it down to try to seal where I saw that little bit of hole in the lock line tube on the top of it. Mash it down real good. And I'm mashing around where the little bar goes down into it, trying to keep it from just for the epoxy not to ooze out the bottom. And as you can see, it's basically like a little cup now. So I'm going to use the base of it, because that holds it steady so I can see what I'm doing. I get the epoxy out, and this in the middle of it, you'll see right there where I'm pointing. You got to cut that out. If you don't cut it out, you'll sit there and struggle for days trying to get the epoxy to come out. So I cut that out. That's the little piece right there that you need to take out between it. And I got this at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Don't expect much, because, well, it's from the Dollar Tree. I do this the hard way. I use the X-Acto knife to actually cut the tips of this epoxy thing off, and what I should have gotten was my plastic nippers, but here in just a minute you'll see that I grab a pair and do it. Now I've popped it open. I should be wearing gloves. I was too big excited about making my first video and didn't think about it, so I had a little bit of trouble, so I squirted it all in there and got it empty finally. Take a toothpick, started to stir it up. Of course it broke. So grab the next one, stirred it up, and just started stirring all that epoxy up. Make sure it got it good mixed that way, because it's part A and part B, and you mix it and then it turns into that rock hard epoxy. So I'm swirling it around here, trying to make sure that it gets around the little I guess you'd say the little bolt or whatever. That way it'll hold. So now I got to set it to the side and let it dry. But I got some epoxy around the edges, and I'm trying to clean some of that off, so that way it'll, when I try to put it back on the lock line, it'll actually won't give me a fit because it'll be too tight. I'm gonna put that to the side to dry. Cleaned off my table, and now I've got the clamp and the saddle 3/4 pipe there. And the reason why I've done this is because that pipe is cheaper than anything else I've seen. Everybody else will either 3D print the piece, or they'll cut it out of a block or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a marker, and I'm going to make me 2 points where I'm going to drill and put the screws in so it'll hold on. I'm not going to glue it or anything like that. I want a positive hold. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my marker. I'm going to make a mark there and a mark on the other side. And I'm going to get my trusty drill. There's the drill bit, and then the drill bit that I bought also has a tapper with it, so that's what I'm using. Putting it into my drill so I can drill the hole. Alright, here we go. And there's the first hole. Drilling it down through there. I should have kept it a little bit straighter than I did. Watching the video, I can see I'm at a little bit of an angle, but it doesn't affect that one. Then I'm going to do the other hole. Turn it around so the camera can see it a little bit better. And I had to rig the camera up just a little bit while I was building this. Now see, I was having a little bit of trouble about getting it started. Well, the reverse does not work right, so you put it the right way. There we go. The piece jumped up a little bit, but that didn't really hurt anything. So I went ahead and drilled it all the way through. Backed it back out. Now, took the bit out. Now I'm grabbing the tap for the screws that I've got. Put that in the drill. Tighten it up, trying to make sure everything's flat, and that way when I go to do it, it's where it's supposed to be. Cleaning off the surface, it had a little bit of plastic left over. And I'm doing this slow. I didn't want to be off or whatever, so I did it really slow, that way I wouldn't tear anything up. Went down about as far as it would let me go, where I thought that it would stop. Because, I mean, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so I'm not going to be precise, or am I going to be perfect at it. This is just me showing you how I would do it. And this is about the cheapest way I found to be able to do it, because everybody else that I've seen do it on the internet, like I said, they either 3D print it or they make it themselves and stuff like that. That little saddle PVC pipe thing there, that only cost me $2.55 at Lowe's, where you got to have a 3D printer and have to go through all modeling it and everything else, printing it and everything else. Well, that right there, that's the poor man's way out. And I've got the Irwin Quick Grip. It fit perfect on those. When I grabbed that, I was excited to see that it fit right on there, because I was in Lowe's looking for something kind of similar to that, and I just stumbled across them saddles and just had a fit. There's the screws I'm going to use. And I didn't want to use the drill to put it in because I was scared it would strip it or just tear it up, so I just decided to do it the old school with the screwdriver. Look at me go. Thank God for film editing. Look at that. I wish it had been that quick. Got done with that. Now I'm going to screw in the part from the lock line. I had a little bit of trouble. And I'm only going to do it hand tight, and I don't want to use anything to make it any tighter because I won't be able to take it on and off. If I want to unscrew it, I'll be able to and kind of switch it back and forth. See, now the clamp pretty much will go anywhere I want to. I can put it on the table, on side, just about anywhere. I won't have any trouble mounting that anywhere I want to put it. Alright, this is the lock line. This is the magic here. Them things were hard to put together. So once I did though, I mean it's just like it's just a holder, and it'll go, you can put it in any direction and it'll stay where you got it. I had got 2 sets of them, and that's going to be the part that basically bends and stretches. Like if I want to, wherever I want to put it, I'll be able to. So there's the part that I've been working on this whole time. There's the ball on top of it, and then once I pop that in, now it's all connected to the gripper there. Saying it, I mean, when it's stiff. Once you move it to where you want to, it stays. Now I'm going to go and check on the epoxy part where I had the little cheap phone holder. I'm getting me a toothpick to test it. At the time when I done that, it was still a little soft. It says 5 minutes, but it needs to. I'm gonna let it sit and cure for probably 24 hours or whatever. But once it's done, it pops on right there. And voila noir thingamajig. We're almost done with that thing. Once it dries and everything, I'll put it all back together and I'll show you the end results. Thank you.